Cool, bro. You're one of my fuckers.
I feel like I should say something. Isaiah did kiss me.
Welcome back once again to Romance Review TV with Lady T, and I got another Love Island video. Love Island USA Season 4 Episode 7, and we got a crazy triangle, quadrangle going on, and Timmy is getting cold feet when it comes to Zeta. And then we get siblings to come into the villa. So we'll unpack all of this. But before we do, just take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. And don't forget to like and share. So let's jump into this. So as we saw on the last episode, the shocking twist where Andy ended up choosing Sydney, who was originally coupled up with Isaiah, and Isaiah ended up with Maddie, who was coupled up with Andy. And of course, we saw Val go home. She was the islander that was dumped. So now all of the couples are pretty much happy after this recoupling, that they're pretty much who they were happy to be with, especially when it came to Jesse and Deb. But this whole thing that's going on with Maddie and Isaiah and Sydney and Andy just didn't make sense. And for primarily most of the video, quite a few islanders were calling it BS because it just did not make sense. Now, we do remember Andy having a conversation with Sydney about how he was interested and he's not feeling it with Maddie. But she was also not giving up the idea of trying to pursue things with Isaiah. And now this whole conversation takes another turn because there's this bro code that Isaiah feels has been broken, which he does discuss with Timmy, which, I mean, honestly, this is circular dating on a social experiment. So I don't know what he expected. And this whole thing is escalated within a matter of 6 weeks. So you kind of got to figure out. But I guess he should have had some conversation with Isaiah to give him the heads up that, of course, he was interested, which he did not do. So now he does decide to have a conversation with Andy. And, you know, Isaiah is like, look, dude, at what point were you interested in Sydney? Because you were with Maddie. I had no idea that there was any interest at all. And then you slid in through the back door and you pretty much stole my girl. That was the gist of their conversation. Now, Andy was like, man, yeah, I know. I should have told you. I apologize. And the way Zay, or that's what they call him, Isaiah, didn't really care about the apology. He thought it was crap. And pretty much, you know, he's giving Andy the side eye at this point. So yeah, he was pissed. So now back over to Sydney. She's now of course in the catbird seat because she got two guys that she's interested in. She's having this conversation with Zeta about the fact of, you know, as much as she's interested in, you know, trying to pursue things with Andy, she still feels some kind of way about Isaiah, and she do not want to lose that. But this is a complicated situation. I don't know if she can get back where she, you know, because there's something else that we got to talk about with her later. However, we do see Maddie and Isaiah have a conversation about the fact that they feel blindsided. Nobody of the two of them had any insight on their partners being interested in the other. Now, Maddie is interested in trying to figure out, you know, if she has a connection with Isaiah. But both of them pretty much talked about the fact that they had no idea and how they both were blindsided by the choices. So now this particular conversation with Timmy and Zeta. Now they were vibing in this moment until she asked him, do you think that we will be good on the outside? Now, as much as because he hesitated, he was like, yeah. Now, in that moment, I'm like, no, you need to be honest. He should have said, look, it's still early. Let's just take it one day at a time and get to know each other. But he pretty much told the girl what she wanted to hear. When he really truly knows that in his heart of hearts that it's a little bit too soon to be talking about life outside of the villa. It's only been a week. So, you know, he's going to have that conversation, but he does feel a little bit remorse about the fact that he told her that, yeah, I think we'll be good on the outside. So now, this is where we see Maddie putting Andy on notice. Because at this point, she was like, you know what? We can be friends. We can even be cool. We can have conversation. But anything romantic-wise, that bridge has burned. You burned it. And a lot of that comes to the fact of him not expressing to either her or Isaiah that he was ready to turn his head and figure out things with Sydney. And, you know, she pretty much stood up for herself. Now, the interesting thing is, though, as much as they didn't like what they did, Maddie and Isaiah at bedtime were kissing each other. And that was a topic of conversation the next morning because Maddie, well, first we got to say Deb was pretty happy about the fact that she was back with Jesse. So that's what that face was about. And Jesse is definitely happy to be with her. He said that she's going to be the focal point of, you know, his attention at this point. On the flip side, we got Tarzan, Tyler, and Serenity. They didn't do any cuddles or kisses, but, you know, they're trying to build upon something. Now, Maddie dropped a bombshell to Sydney to let her know that me and your boy, we were kissing last night. And she was like, oh, really? So I think honestly that was a power play move because he knew that that was going to get back. He know how girls talk and he wanted to make sure that that was a way to get back at Sydney, and it hit her real hard. She was so emotional because of course she still liked that guy. And the thing is that as much as folks try to explore multiple connections, there's usually one person that you're really stuck on. Now, Timmy needs a listening ear because of this whole thing with him and Zeta. Because he feels bad now. His conscience is bothering him. He said that, you know, I shouldn't have just told her what she wanted to hear about the whole situation of them being good on the outside when it's only been a week. And he said that, you know what, I've hurt girls before, but I don't want to do this again. I'm trying to do the right thing and be correct. Well, doing the right thing should have been you being honest at the time, not coming back later. That's going to blow up in his face. These two are still trying to figure this thing out, and this is interesting as well because Sydney didn't tell the whole truth to Isaiah. Isaiah said as much as Andy came for you, he had to have some type of ammunition to say, okay, fine, I'll go for you. And she was like, well, no, I told him I was 100% with you. Can we rebound back to that particular episode where she was like, yeah, I'll get to know you and I'll get to know Isaiah too. So I guess she forgot about that. So then they have this tag team challenge where each couple get into this ring. It looks like a boxing ring full of paintballs or whatever. And Dolph Ziggler, who's a WWE superstar, is kind of officiating this thing. And so each of the couples, you know, they prepare for this whole thing. And I'm like, okay, hopefully this is pretty interesting, but we'll get through it. The challenges used to be great in the first few seasons. I don't know. We'll have to see. But what they did, and I'll let you guys see the montage, is them kind of ripping their shirts open, bursting these paintballs, and then they ended with a kiss. Take a look. So the winner of this whole challenge was Maddie and Isaiah, and they were really going in because they wanted to stick it to Andy and Sydney. And they did a pretty good job at it because they were not happy about what they've seen. So they got back to the villa, and it pretty much, they sat around throwing shots at each other and side-eye daggers, because this whole thing is a hot mess. And for whatever reason that Andy decided to slide into the space with Sydney, it just didn't make sense. And that's what this whole thing is all mixed up about. So now we're at the end of the episode, and we see both Deb and Sydney having a conversation. And Deb is like, so how you feeling? Are you happy in this whole coupling with Andy? And now we see the fact that she is missing her some Isaiah. Not only did that kiss light a fire, but what happened at that challenge lit a fire under her. So now we hear Sydney, who was originally open to both of them trying to get to know. Now she's pretty much ready to kick Andy to the curb and try to snatch her dude Isaiah back. She even said in that challenge, don't get too comfortable with my man. So my thing is, she should have just, you know, I get it that she wanted to try to open up connections and try to see what was up with Andy, but in all actuality, it didn't work out for her, and it might have blew up in her face. So it is what it is, but hey, and you hid the truth. So then the guys are having a conversation with Timmy, because Timmy is pretty much letting them know about the fact of Zeta moving a little bit too fast. And it's almost like it's a turnoff for him at this point, because he's like, look, it's only been 7 days, you know, and you already here at this point. So yeah, he's not feeling it right now. I see potential problems with those two. And then we got Maddie, because she's so upset about the fact of how all this went down with Isaiah and Andy, and she don't want to be second choice. Meanwhile, we have Tarzan Tyler and Serenity trying to build upon their connection. And, you know, he's liking the fact that she's attractive. She's attracted to him. And so it's slowly but surely, like a slow burn, making its way. And it did end up with the two of them sharing a kiss. Now, again, I don't see the connection, but hey, I'm way over here and they're in the villa. So, I mean, obviously Serenity is feeling Tyler. And I guess we got to see what works, you know, and see if this is something long lasting. Now, we do see that Courtney did receive a text message saying, welcome Bria and Chazz into the villa. And one thing about these two, they are siblings. She's the oldest at 24. He's her younger brother at 21. They sound like the same age as my kids. I have a 24-year-old and a 21-year-old. And they pretty much come into the villa, letting them know their interest. Chazz had numerous interests, one being Serenity, and Bria had multiple interests, one being Jesse. So it's going to be interesting to see who they go out on dates with. And speaking of dates, they get a text message saying that they get the opportunity. America actually has voted for who will be their date. And here's a preview of that in the next episode. Take a look.
Oh brother and oh sister, the two New Islanders stay.
So you knew about it? No, I knew about it. Andy and Sydney's kiss before the recoupling. Nah, I didn't know about that. That's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, you running game now? Is that what you're up to?
We just talked.
No, I am.
You got something to tell me or no? Well, nah, bro. That's bullshit. You got something to tell me or no?
So, it looked like it's gonna be good. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow's episode, and I know you are too. So, until the next video, don't forget to take a moment to make sure that you are subscribed, and don't forget to like and share. We'll see you soon. Bye.